Now it's time for us to move to the second part of today's discussions, and now we're going to go to our conversations. We are going to have three of these conversations from young Africans, from vibrant Africans, and it's time for me to introduce the first conversation, which is on youth philanthropy in times of COVID-19. Youth Philanthropy in Times of COVID-19. And indeed, this wonderful session will be moderated by Ivan Sebastian, who is Regional Coordinator for the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform. Ivan, if you are there, you have the floor to introduce to us those who will be holding this wonderful conversation with you and kickstart your topic of discussion.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And thank you so much, Edith, for that electric keynote address. Technical team, if you could allow me turn on my video, I'll be so grateful. But while we get that technical support, okay, thank you. Good afternoon, Africa. My name is Sebastian, Segawaivan Sebastian, and I am introduced the East African Community Youth Ambassador to Uganda, but I am also the regional coordinator of the East African Community Youth Ambassadors Platform. And this platform is a youth engagement platform at the East African Community Secretariat level. And it's the premium engagement platform for the REC of ESC to reach out to its young people. I'm very excited for this, this afternoon session for the APN Youth Summit, and we are going to be discussing celebrating youth philanthropy in times of the COVID-19 pandemic. With me, I have a panel of very exciting young people. I am going to briefly tell you who they are, but I will also give them 2 minutes to just tell us about the interventions and the businesses they are running, and then we shall dig into the conversation. First, we have Bucham. Bucham is a Cameroon National Youth Delegate to the Commonwealth Youth Council. We have Jessica Sharma. Jessica is the director of Assumpta Digital Schools, but she is also a special youth ambassador at the ESC, and it's very exciting to see you, Ambassador Jessica. We have Johannes. Johannes is a close friend of mine, but he is a mining policy officer at the African Union, among the very many other things he is. And we also have Wikista Aduma. I had an opportunity to meet Aduma and interact with her work during the Youth Summit that is freshly concluded, and she is the founder of the Run for Office in Kenya. Now, I just want to invite my dear panelists. I see that we have Aduma on, we have Jessica on, and I think Johannes and Bucham are still having technical challenges. They kept coming on and dropping, but we shall catch up with them when they join us. For now, I welcome you, Jessica, to just use 2 minutes to share with us what you do. Jessica.
Thank you very much. Okay. I'm so glad to be here. And to my fellow youth, and I would like to first of all introduce myself as how I was introduced earlier. My name is Jessica Sharma. I'm the Special Youth Ambassador, an entrepreneur, also an artist, but a board member of Kijana Jasiri. A board member of Kijana Jasiri and a founder of Nakuwa na Taifa Langu, a nonprofit organization that is aimed on empowering the youth in terms of entrepreneurship, engaging them in opportunities and informations that can actually expand the area of their expertise. And what I do currently, I have started business. I've started doing business when I was 17 years old in Tanzania, where run a supermarket, which I still do, 50 women Tanzanian made products, but also I link them to the markets that is in Tanzania, but also across borders of Tanzania. But after COVID-19 in 2000, after COVID coming along in 2019, if I do remember, I tackled into understanding the issues, actually challenges that are facing our education systems in Africa. And I began to start a project of education that is not only education, but digital education, digital skilled school that has digital infrastructures and digital material that can help students in overcoming the crisis in education during COVID, but even after COVID, because what I believe is that in order for Africa to be impactful, we have to be part of problem solving projects. And this is among it, but not only for me, but also to create a generation that is fully aware of the opportunity in the technology sector, but also digital sector, but also in the education that is fully supportive for their dreams to be reality. And I
Thank you.
started the school in
Jessica. Jessica, we are losing you. I think your connectivity is not so.
Fully registered, and right now it runs more than. Can you hear me now?
Your connectivity is not good. No, it is fine. We can hear you now, but also your introduction time had been fast spent. I will be circling back to you in a bit. But now I would like to invite, thank you. I would like to invite Welkista Aduma. Aduma, if you could just use 2 minutes to tell us briefly about what you do.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sebastian, for the opportunity. As you've mentioned, my name is Aduma Welkista, and I run an initiative called Run for Office. And what Run for Office does, it works with young people to close the gap in terms of representation of young people by themselves in positions of political influence and authority. So we also, help to close the gap in legislation and policy when it comes to young people's representation in politics. Yeah, so pretty much that's what Run for Office is about. I also have worked with young people for the past 8 years in different capacities. And I think one thing that stands out particularly for this particular conversation is on a study we had done on youth response to COVID-19. So I'm looking forward to the discussion. Thank you, Sebastian.
All right. Thank you so much, Jessica. And I want to encourage that all our dear panelists, we request that if you can, you turn on your videos so that the continent can see you in flesh. Now I would like to welcome Bucham Samuel from Cameroon. Samuel, I briefly want you to tell us about what you do. And I know that you are pressed for time, but I will circle back to you very quickly so that we can get the best of you before you leave us. Samuel?
Yeah, once more, good afternoon, dear African leaders. It's a great pleasure for me to join you all virtually as we are looking forward to discuss, the role of young people in Africa, especially during the moment we've been facing challenges with COVID-19. The test of time to meaningfully also contribute, in shaping the narrative. So in that regard, I want to say that I am from Butum Samuel Bache. I happen to be the Cameroon National Delegate to the Commonwealth and also the Director of Peace Academy here in Cameroon, and the Executive Director as well of YAPSEC, which is a non-governmental youth-led organization. So for the past 6 to 7 years now, I've been working with the youth space on issues of youth participation, local governance, and peace building as well. And all of these are some ways which I realize that for young people, to be independent and also be very comfortable, they have to come to a point where they need to be innovative, creative, and inventive, with their innate potentials to drive change across their communities, while working with different stakeholders. On that regard, as we are looking forward to discuss about youth philanthropy, in the midst of COVID-19 situation, I most want to call our concern that we as young people were the engine, to drive change.
Please, Samuel, not to interrupt you, but please, can you be more audible so our audience can hear you? Thank you.
Is everything okay? Can you people hear me?
Yes, Samuel. The concern was that you are not.
Yeah, come again, Mr. Sebastian.
No, I'm saying we can hear you, right? I was just requesting if you can speak a little louder. You are not so audible on our end.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, I was just appreciating, this timely initiative that young people are coming together when the world is being faced with an unprecedented challenge on health issue, and it has affected a lot of sectors, especially within the empowerment and development. And it is a place now for young people to take this challenge, through being creative, with new ideas and solutions to address this issue. And that's where you see this topic we're having on philanthropy is very timely for us to meaningfully, see how we can extend hand of solidarity, which is the aspect of philanthropy, by coming with initiatives which can empower us and our communities while adding value and also generating profit to us. So that's what I'm saying, that it is time for us African young people not to just rely on foreign aids, support, but how can we harness, the resources which we're having around us and be able to work together, as a team, to transform these ideas, these resources to sustainable products and services that can be of great importance to the community to improve their social, the social and the welfare and the well-being of these people while generating income for our sustainability in different endeavors. So basically, that's the introduction I would like to see. Maybe I'll come back when time is given. So as I said, I'm a leader and I work within that area of youth participation in governance and small.
And like I said, we are now examining the role of youth philanthropy in the times of the pandemic. And like you all know that at the start of 2020, around March last year, the continent of Africa was hit with a tragedy. But this tragedy also came to give us a chance to show that we really care. And it did not hit discriminately. Everyone from every angle of this continent, actually of the globe, had a feel or taste or impact of the COVID-19 pandemic. Different people are responding differently, depending, of course, on the context of the challenges that were being had. And in Africa, we had different interventions that were undertaken to ensure that we remain afloat and try to ensure that our people can survive even amidst this pandemic. Today, I already introduced the panel of young people that we have, and are going to share with us their experiences. And I'm going to be asking quick questions. In the interest of time, everyone will have 3 minutes. I need to say that I am very keen on time, and I know that as young people, we have to show precedence of what we require of the old generation, and one of those is being timekeeping and very apt about schedules. So for my dear panelists, everyone will be having 3 minutes, exactly 3 minutes, to respond to the questions I'll be asking. And I will start with you, Johannes, because you did not have an opportunity to introduce yourself earlier. And yours is you know, communities had different ways to respond to the pandemics. And I know that you are at the African Union and you have a better insight to talk to us about how the AU responded to the pandemic. I just want to know, you as an expert there, as a youth expert, how did your organization intervene during the COVID-19 pandemic? Johannes?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Ivan. I hope I'm very clear. And sorry for the background noise. I'm moving, but I hope I'm very clear.
Yes, you are clear.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm John Johannes from South Sudan. I'm currently working with the African Union Commission, Department of Trade and Industry. I'm in mining division. So we really work on minerals aspect, not COVID-19, to give you some sort of correction in that regards. But however, COVID-19 is an issue that we deal with as our level as a young activists and also a person who work closely with the communities. Through the Nile Youth Development Action, we have done some community work, particularly in communicating the COVID-19 measures. We together with some and a campaign whereby the messages of the Minister of Health and the Ministry of, and the messages from the World Health Organization, we transmit those messages to local communities, whereby we use our local languages to transmit those messages to the local community, because we feel they are not getting the information. So it is our responsibility to go out, tell them the message, so that they can take care of their life and also take the prevention measure against COVID-19. So our role basically was on the dissemination of the right information to the local communities. At the continental level, we had a research that we conducted in 2020 on November. It was funded by the Danish Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the study was on the impact of the COVID-19 in the East African countries and Horn of Africa. It is focused on education and the social engagement of the young people. And we find out that young people took the opportunity of being connected to internet to also improve their businesses and also to contribute toward the fight against COVID-19. And these are really quite good outcomes, whereby we believe young people are internet savvy, and if we use that internet to benefit our local communities, it will be something that in future we can work on how we can reach many people even at the local level, at the grassroots. So these are the things that we do at our level as young people, but also at the continental level, we do mostly, as we know, in 2020, when the COVID-19 it is at its peak, we have nothing to do except doing our activities online. So we have taken, though we can find a way forward out of the COVID-19, particularly when young people also look into innovation, whereby we have some sort of innovation that can help in halting the spread of COVID-19. And we have a good, quiet example across the continent. So these are the things that we need really to tap on, and also need to promote and fund those programs so that we can put the young people at the forefront. Thank you very much. I think I will I will stop there to give time to other colleagues also to share and colleagues to create this.
Thank you so much, Johannes, for being apt and on time. Thank you so much for sharing. I just want to pick up from your point where you say that now young people are embracing more technological solutions towards, for example, meeting. And I know that Jessica here in her introduction said that one of the interventions that one of her organizations has been spearheading is ensuring that there is e-learning. And I want to come to you, Jessica, and I want to understand what are the emerging practices and trends on community philanthropy in Tanzania.
Thank you so much, Evan. And coming to e-learning in Tanzania, first of all, it's
Jessica, may I ask you to kindly turn on your video, please?
New concepts, being the school. Okay. Can you see me? Yes, okay. So the concept of digitalization in schools is the first, and I have to run a school that is the first digital. So what we do in real sense, the kids are really not aware of how to run e-learning at school. First, we'll introduce the hybrid formula, whereby parents get to bring their kids at the school. Means of interaction while they're at home is to get to interact with the teachers in the school through their laptops, through their iPads, through the tutoring room, where we have every context of subjects in visual ways. So if they're learning biology, let's say, for example, the digestive system is not only theoretical, it's more of a visual like. So they go to the tutoring room where a teacher elaborates more on what it really means, that how it really looks like when a person has a digestive system. But not only that, in sense that even during their weekends and during their them doing homeworks at home, they are interacted in a software that school teaching gets login in order to work. If they have further questioning, they get to interact. So I want it to be across Africa, not only in Tanzania, because I know if we prepare the generation in more become a problem solvers in the future, because when we talk about 2063 of African Union, without good quality education, the young generation just studying in the ways that we used to study or our fathers used to study, but in a way that it is more realistic, in the way that it is market-based oriented. Because what we have in our continent is the education curriculum, education system that is basically aimed for a child to seek to be employed rather than not to seek solution, not to create, solution in terms of entrepreneurship, in terms of leadership, but also in terms of talent. I believe also in talent because as I've grown up, from 7 years old, I've been singing from different movements, like the current song that I've sung is Kazi and Dele, and it gave me mileage, but it also gave me visibility, and in that way I can use it personally as a way to as an income stream that a child, an African child, if she or he is it becomes a problem. So in general, I have strategized myself to be a social entrepreneur in terms of education, because even the payment structure that I have installed in the school is for average, average family and low income families, because it is not only a privilege of high income families to adapt to the, new ways of learning, to the most recent information, but we need to have the flint we need to have the families that majority are. So what I've introduced in the school is that even a woman income, I am able to facilitate that less than $50 in a week. So in that way, I become a part and parcel of,
Thank you,
positive
Jessica.
impact in my.
Thank you. I'll be circling back to you in a bit.
Okay.
I'm so glad that we can hear you even with your technical glitches. We still get the gist of the conversation, and it's exciting to hear the great work you're doing for the young people in Tanzania. And congratulations on your song.
Thank you so much.
A link to it later before the show ends. You could share the link on the chat so that people can go and see and listen to it themselves. I now want to come to you, Aduma.
Thank you.
And I know
Sebastian, you're muted.
Oh, yes, thank you. I know the conversation now in Kenya is so different because of the political climate there. And I know that it has been the same for the past 2 years for the East African region, because almost all the East African countries have been going to the polls, from Burundi to Tanzania last year, then Uganda early this year, and we shall be having Kenya going to the polls in August. And since you are running the project of Run for Office, to you, what have you learned from philanthropy as a young person dealing with young people that are thinking for political leadership?
Okay, so I think first it would be good to recognize that as a region, we are going through a youth bulge, and our youth population is growing, and it's growing very rapidly. And now narrowing down to Kenya is not different. It's the same situation where right now 75% of the population right now is young people. And youth philanthropy, particularly in the context of COVID-19, what happened here is when COVID hit, really few leaders were on the ground in terms of helping to respond to COVID-19 because of the uncertainty of how the virus manifested. And arguably at the time, young people were quote unquote immune, that their bodies were, taking the way the bodies of the young people were taking the illness was better compared to the older folk. So what happened during that time is the first responders actually, who are in the communities, on the ground, in the grassroots, responding to the situation, were young people. So we saw a lot of drives by young people to, do crowdfunding and also collect food stuff to share with vulnerable groups in the community, like people with disabilities, communities that are informal settlements, women and children. So I think for me, what I saw was the youth power in terms of bringing together whatever little resources were available for young people to help, bridge the gap that then at the time the government wasn't even bridging. So I think for me, that's really, really one thing that I admire about young people during the COVID-19. The other thing is in terms of response from government, and other civil society organizations and humanitarian organizations, I think that came a bit later. It came a bit later after the young people were already engaging with the community members. And for me, that's the most important and key learning, that the first responders were young people, and that young people have, the might, the will, and the willingness to put together resources to build communities.
Thank you so much, Aduma. That was impressive, and I agree that young people are now starting to show direction, and that is something that we need as a bulge. And when you mentioned that we are a bulge, everyone today has almost been referring to the numbers of young people across the continent. And now our biggest task is to translate that bulge into something that is productive for our continent. And I now want to invite Bochum. Someone is supposed to be leaving us in a bit, but if you're still with us, I know that you are a delegate to the Commonwealth Youth Council. I just want to know what your efforts have been towards response to the COVID-19 pandemic as a young leader. Samuel?
Once more, I want to say good afternoon, dear friends. I'm a bit not really happy, even though you know I have a very tight schedule. So when I drop a message and it takes so much time, you know, it offends me somehow because I'm working on time, you know. And that's, by the way, I want to say that the meeting has been going on well, and it's okay by that. Basically, what we've been able to do, you know, as within the Commonwealth, I don't really want to talk about that, you know, but as an individual through my organization, the UPSEC in Cameroon, we were one of those early youth-led institutions in the country that responded, you know, timely when COVID-19 started, especially within the region, the Southwest region, when we just got, you know, probably the message about COVID-19 and the first case in the country. We started effective sensitization campaign and hand sanitizer, face masks at motor parks, you know, and also different avenues where we have like food vendors, you know, who are always there to deal with the population. And it was a very intense campaign which ran for a very long time, and we had to put a lot of even locally made face masks because some people within the community did not really find this one we having friendly, with a lot of, you know, kind of poor mindset, or, you know, the way people rated about this. It wasn't so friendly and received, and also the face mask, the hand sanitizer, and soap. So this was just an action that I think that when we talk about philanthropy, it's not just about the food stuff, you know, but in moments where health is a priority for us to engage in our businesses and so on, we need to factor that as an issue of urgency. And it doesn't just end there, but we also move forward to engage institution schools, where we had to carry out sanitizing and also support with buckets, you know, hand washing buckets and soap as well. And these are just some ways that we have been engaging. And moving forward from that, we believe that capacity building, also in mind transforming, is very important, because it's not just giving people, but it's about also enlightening them, educating them on how to also do something to replicate this within their own niche. That's where we also brought youth leaders also together to share with them and see how we can have local partners, you know, like we did a local partnership in Cameroon here with other civil society organizations like Local Corner, you know, one of the member of parliament, and the Boya Municipal Council, the division officer. These were all to take joint actions, you know, towards the response of COVID. And it did not just end there, but I believe, like, closely with the council, some support material were given to these local communities around the, you know, the municipality. And away from that, I believe that this COVID-19 has also indicated to us young people that we should not just be depending for external donors, you know, for us to realize our project. Now, one of the strengths we've been able to realize during this period is about team building, you know, effective networking and forming coalition, where we can bring together our different ideas and resources, being moral, financial, and technical, to carry joint activities. And I think this is one of the lessons we have learned. And secondly, also, many people were not so friendly with virtual trainings, the Zoom webinar, and so on. People were not. So one of the things that COVID-19 has helped, you know, is about us going virtual. Like, one of the things we do through one of my institutions, Peace Academy, is that we do more of virtual trainings now, online peace building training. so people can study peace across the world. All what it means is just to fulfill the requirement for registration, and you are able to receive the courses and the study guide on that regard, and you're able to study and receive a certificate wherever you find yourself. So those are just, and we make money through that, and we'll make money through that to use the money to carry out our local activity within the community and the country. So on notes, my phone is down right now, and I may continue. But I want to appreciate, the organizers for this long time meeting we have been looking forward, and I pray that God will help us all as we can form a more stronger bond through the new platform created on how to see how we can work towards taking new impact in our respective communities. So thank you once more, Mr. Moderator. Thank you, Mr. Organizer, and the team and fellow panelists, and also the APN. God bless you all.
Thank you so much, Samuel. It means so much to us that you have taken time to stay with us this long, and we apologize if you felt that we did not handle your time so well, but we are so grateful that you spared the time to be with us. I now want to remind all of you, our online delegates and viewers, that we are keenly following the chat room, and I encourage that for those of you that have critical questions, make use of the tools that we have on our webinar channel. We have the Q&A tool where you can just go and type in your question. It will be very easy for me to locate that question and then direct it to whichever panelist that you want to have respond to it. But for now, I encourage that for those of you joining us, just share in the chat box where you're coming from. I see Omari Ali from Tanzania. I see you, Domai from South Sudan, and the rest of you. Just keep those comments coming. We need to know where you are tuning in from, because we are now a conglomerate of the whole of Africa. Continuing and very cognizant of the fact that we are pressed for time, I want now to bring you back, Jessica. And Jessica, if you can hear me, your question is, and I know that you have been very passionate about reducing physical contact as a way of curtailing COVID-19, and therefore you are so much invested in online activities, specifically for the academia. But I'm concerned, as Africa, as much as we are very many young people on the continent, there is also a challenge that we do not have as much internet penetration within the continent. So we do not have very many young people exposed to the internet or to social media or to tools that can have them have clean and seamless access to technology or maybe online classes. Jessica, this comes to you. What do you think our place as young philanthropists should be towards ensuring that we have more young people involved in such interventions during crises like the COVID-19 pandemic?
If you can repeat the question, please, because I didn't hear you well.
Okay, very quickly, I'm saying that we do not have as much internet penetration on the continent. So we have a few young people connected to the internet grid, and therefore very few young people can be able to access online classes or online infrastructure. And I'm asking, what do you think we as young people should do towards ensuring that the larger part of young people that cannot access internet online, how do we get them involved? I don't know whether we lost Jessica for a moment there. Yes, we did, but sure, when Jessica comes back, we shall be able to engage with her. Aduma, now I will fly to you and create a similar question for you as a follow-up. And I know that, for example, social distancing has been encouraged. Social distancing has been encouraged from every health expert towards us stopping this COVID-19 pandemic. But from the photos that we see coming out of Kenya, it doesn't seem like something that can be observed during such an election atmosphere. My question to you is then, what do you think philanthropy should focus on during such challenges and crises?
For me, what I see is what the whole situation has brought out really is the inequality that we have as a people and as a nation. So if looking at Kenya heading into the elections and not being able to follow through in terms of the COVID protocols, I think there's still going to be a lot of that, and I don't think it will get better because previously we've had lockdowns, restriction of movement, restriction of the number of people you can have at a meeting. But the closer we head into the general elections, the more the rules are getting relaxed on this side. And I think if we try to figure out, or when we're thinking about where philanthropy should focus, particularly in this context of Kenya and heading into the elections, I think the focus really should be on trying to bridge the inequality gap, because we're still in a situation where there are so many industries that have closed down or industries that have gone slow in terms of the income that they make. So that means that there are people that have been affected adversely, and of course, loss of income, loss of employment opportunities. And then this is also still going on the backdrop of unemployment, which is rife in the country right now. So I think if we figure out if we're trying to figure out where philanthropy should go towards, it's in bridging the inequality gap. So probably, activities that should be geared towards creating employment, activities that should be geared towards, ending hunger, activities that would be geared towards providing proper healthcare. Generally, it would be in trying to achieve the sustainable development goals.
All right. Thank you so much, Aduma. And now I will turn my attention and focus to our online audience. Before I request those that I think, Aduma, you're the only panelist that will have been left. I see you, Pezondala. You are asking, can youth philanthropy also be considered as one of the solutions to curb climate change in Africa? And then Grace, I see my question is to Edith. Could she please share where she started from as a social entrepreneur? Where will she advise that one starts from? Yes, definitely. The team will transmit that question to Edith. And I know that they will advise if Edith is unable to answer that question here. You can always follow up on her on her socials. She's a very, very accommodative and hospitable lady. I'm sure she will be able to respond to that question. And lastly, Odimwengu, my question is to Aduma. As young presidential aspirant, I face a lot. Oh, Odimwengu is running for president. Congratulations, and we wish you the best of luck. As a young presidential aspirant, I face a lot of challenges, majorly publicity. And as you know, big politicians in the country get more airtime and visibility in many media houses compared to us young new aspirants. How is your organization helping, or can it help young candidates like myself to get such media opportunities like interviews? Because such platforms will help me greatly to reach out to many people at a costly way. Aduma, that is a question to you. If you could quickly respond to it, as we only have 9 minutes. Yes.
Okay, so what we do with the Run for Office is we have associate members, and associate members are young people who choose to partner with the organization to further their agenda or further their candidature. And these are young people who are running and looking to win and lead. So there are benefits that we accord associate members, and one of the benefits is profiling. And when we profile on different social channels. So mainstream media is one of them. So for young people who are running, we get them opportunities to do media outreach. So they'd have panel interviews on national TV, and also, of course, promote them on social media in partnership with also other youth serving organizations. So I didn't quite get his name, but if you are interested in becoming an associate member, this is a benefit that you could get as a result of that.
Thank you so much. And maybe lastly, to the question around climate change, definitely, philanthropy can come in different shapes. And like Edith shared earlier, that I think one of the things that we need to focus on is now impact. That as young people, when we are doing something, we need to ensure that what we are doing has impact. Therefore, if we have young people that are interested in climate change, and you've heard from the panelists we've had sharing with us today, that their philanthropy has been moving from providing maybe monetary aid to providing in-kind support to providing technical support. So in all the kinds that we can have provisions, I think that philanthropy comes in handy. And like I said earlier, and I think Aduma agreed, and the previous speakers, that the bulge in Africa is a beauty because it is that of young people. And we know that philanthropy is largely informed by numbers. The more people we have giving, the more people we have invested in the idea, the more that idea will grow, the more that idea will be impactful. So as we brag and as we celebrate the big numbers of the African youth on this continent, I think that we should also come together and ensure that we are in one when philanthropy of young people comes into play. And I know, for example, something very interesting that this week, for those of you that are very invested in social media, you saw that Davido was celebrating his birthday. And you know, he jokingly asked his colleagues to send him money. And at the end of the day, he had collected about 200 million naira, and he added about 50 to be able to give it to orphanages across Nigeria. And I think that is also a very big tool. And I want to actually celebrate the Western Africa musician and icon for paving way and setting precedents for our celebrities. That way, I hope that we shall be having more philanthropic ways of celebrating birthdays than the splash Unfortunately, we have lost most of them, but we shall have those that we have with us. I think, Aduma, you're the one who has stood the test of connectivity in Africa. So you will just share with us your last words. And while you share them, I want you to address one last question of impactful philanthropy. Do you think that we should always act in isolation, where we constantly go and do good work, but at our small scale level? Or you think that we should come up as young people, like we have APN now, a continental-wide network? We should come up under one umbrella and say that, okay, if we have an idea of run for office in Kenya, can we scale it up as young people? And if we have more young people of a like mind that can commit resources or even their time to see it through, that way we have more impact across the African continent.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sebastian. I think we cannot continue to have effort that is not concentrated towards a particular objective. And for us, even at Run for Office, one of the objectives we have is not to replicate or invent the wheel in terms of what is already being done. It's on how we complement work that is already being done by other partners towards the same objective. So you'd find that most of the trainings we do for young people, most of the capacity building we do for young people are outsourced from partners that are already working in that particular space. So if young candidates are being trained on electoral management, then we don't have to do the same training. We just have them go to the training that a partner is already conducting. So to answer your question on whether we need to continue working in isolation, I think where we are moving as young people, as a continent, and also in terms of philanthropy, is we are moving into a space where we need more platforms for collective action. We need platforms that will allow us, channel resources in a proper way, and of course, also expend those very resources in proper ways. So it would beat logic to replicate a lot of things that are being done, especially if we are all working, for example, in the same country, and we have the same initiative in like 10 different organizations. I mean, it would not make sense. But if we can come together under a campaign, under a consortium, under an alliance, or under a lobby group to achieve the objectives that we've set for ourselves as young people, of course, in leadership of the continent, in philanthropy, in climate justice, and in all these spaces. And the idea on run for office being, more than what it is in Kenya right now is very open. In fact, I remember when we were at ULEAD, our counterparts from Uganda are so ready to, set up a run for office Uganda. And absolutely, I'm all for collective, effort. Yeah, collective effort would take us very far, further than just acting in isolation and not necessarily plugging into work that is being done by other people. So I think I'd urge us all in the continent right now to think about how, as young people, we can find umbrellas, we can find places that we can fit to put in effort from different quarters, so that at the end of the day, even when we're talking about philanthropy, we are not talking about wasting, philanthropy that comes our way. We have to think about how we best use the small or little resources that we already have with us. So, Sebastian, my take would be, let us not act in isolation. Let us find ways to synergize around consortium building. Let us find ways to synergize around lobbying as a block, and also network building.
Thank you so much, Aduma. I think that your words have come in handy, and I know that if anyone has not heard them, Page Omondi has heard them very well, because his question was around sporadic acts and philanthropy of young people only being reactive. And I leave you with just a few words, young people of Africa, that when it comes to philanthropy, I do not think that we should always act in isolation. And it's a beauty that we have the APN with us. They are our conveners for this Youth Summit, and reach out to them, because they are now the network consortium organizers. So they will be able to know where to help you seek support if you want to scale up, or which young people from which part of the continent are doing similar work that you are doing, so that we find areas of synergy, capitalize on them, and have more impact out there to benefit our continent. And now I know that we are on the mark of time, but Jessica has just joined us. Jessica, thank you so much for joining us. I don't know whether you can use 1 minute for a closing remark, and just note that you're leaving the African youth. Jessica, you're muted.
Thank you so much, and thank you for joining me back at the platform. I want to thank you all, and I want to just urge the African youth of today that never be ashamed of your dreams, never be never be downgraded for what you believe in. If you can get one person to believe in you, if you can be more creative in the dreams that you attain to achieve, I think we can achieve it. I stand for the youth that are innovative in this era, because we are in the post-COVID economy. So we need to be as much as creative, as much as problem solvers as we can be. And I welcome you to Tanzania. I welcome partners. I welcome mentors. I welcome investors in my projects, because I want to expand it not only in Tanzania but across Africa, creating innovative leaders, creating problem solvers, creating technology for advancement of Africa as a continent. Thank you all. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Jessica. And with that, our time is now fast spent. Thank you. I want to thank all the panelists that joined us today. Aduma from Nairobi, Jessica from Dar es Salaam, Johannes from Juba, although he's currently based in Ethiopia, Addis Ababa, and then Samuel all the way from Cameroon. I don't know whether he's in Douala or which city he's in specifically, but it has been an honor to have you share your minds and your aspirations with the African youth. And it's been my utmost honor to have guided this conversation. As I conclude, I want to say that our online audience, we've been following keenly. I see you all from South Sudan telling us that there's a crisis of climate change, and I agree that we should indeed, as young people, map out the challenges that we have, and we get those that are most enthusiastic about those challenges to take lead and show us guidance. And the rest of us, if you, for example, are not so interested in politics and are interested in climate change, then you can offer the support that you can for people in politics, but you let those that are enthusiastic about the political front to lead that cause. Jacob Sendaula from Uganda, very excited to have you, countryman. And the rest of you who have joined us today, I'm very grateful. Do not leave the call because the summit is yet going on. We shall be just transiting into another panel discussion. And I would like now to welcome Ansel. I remain Sebastian. Sega Wife and Sebastian. Thank you.